Hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Too Spooky. I like these 10 things about videos. They're really cool. I like learning interesting random facts about Naruto characters because I'm dumb, basically. So let's learn 10 things you probably didn't know about Zetsus. It's like the black Zetsu dude from the Akatsuki, because he was a very strange character. He had a lot to do with the main story at the end of it all, didn't he? Didn't seem forced at all. It was very fluid. Let's do it.
How's it going, everybody?
Too spooky here.
And would you look at that, it just happens to be that time again where we go over some more facts about an Akatsuki member.
Awesome.
Although, on this special occasion, we're actually on our final installment of the series. And for our final member, we're going to be counting down 10 facts about Zetsu. This video was suggested by
I haven't done it in the right order, that's hilarious. So I've still got 3 more to check out, I think.
And for sticking around for its completion. I appreciate all of you who've suggested these characters thus far, and this one right here is going out to each and every one of you.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Before we get started, I just wanted to clarify that this video will be primarily focusing on Black Zetsu. However, we will also include information about the various White Zetsu as well. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Without further ado, let's Zetsu.
If you've seen my previous videos on the various other Akatsuki members, it really shouldn't be a surprise to note that Kishimoto originally had the idea to design each of the Akatsuki members in a way that will make them appear like literal monsters. This is most true for members like Kisame, Hidan, and Kakuzu. However, it looks like Kishimoto may have decided against this for every member, as characters like Itachi and Deidara appear a lot more human.
Yeah, they do.
Then we also have Pain and
Conan,
Konan, which means that Kishimoto apparently just wanted them to look like edgelords. But when it comes to Zetsu, he was by far the most monster-like character out of the group,
he looks like
being based off of a Venus flytrap with his body being half black and half white. When it comes to the original reason that Kishimoto decided to make his body 2 different colors, he stated that he did that to better show Zetsu's split personality. However, as we would later learn, this split personality comes from the fact that black and white Zetsu are in fact 2 different beings.
Things,
the Akatsuki, huh? After all, there's an open spot now, right?
The fuck you say to me, you little Why not let him join? Toby's a good boy.
As a little side note to this, it's currently unknown why exactly Zetsu wore that Venus flytrap around its body, as later in the series that design choice was just ditched completely. So it's unknown if it actually held any practical use. However, the one thing that we do know about it is that in one of the data books, it describes Zetsu as having his body surrounded by a carnivorous plant. Number 2. To expand on that first fact a little bit further, even though Zetsu don't exactly have to eat, in fact it's even implied that they don't, believe it or not, Zetsu actually has food preferences. Its favorite food is chewy people, likely meaning that Zetsu are in fact cannibalistic
chewy people.
While its least favorite food are jelly and konjac. Which, if you didn't know, konjac is basically a flower-like plant that is turned into various different foods in Asian countries. Either way, though, I guess the moral of this fact is that Zetsu do actually eat, which appears to mostly be people, if they decide to eat anything at all.
Lovely.
Which, to
Isn't that
take
from
that
Hannibal?
even
I think that's from
further,
Hannibal.
in one of the earlier data books, when asked who Zetsu wants to fight, it says that Zetsu wishes to fight people who are likely to leave behind a corpse that will make a good meal. So before Zetsu became a shitty double agent, it looks like his original purpose was just meant to be an insane, man-eating
person.
monster.
Oh yeah, that happened, didn't it?
Number 3. There's a bit of a misconception that I quickly wanted to debunk. A lot of people think that Zetsu's betrayal and the introduction of Kaguya were simply created as a way to get rid of Madara, as he became too powerful for Naruto and the gang to defeat. While this, in theory, could be the case, I saw a lot of people spreading around a quote from Kishimoto saying this phrase: "All people have weaknesses, even the strongest ones. However, Madara does not." So to find out if that's actually a factual statement,
yes, that's really
I
true.
decided to take the deep dive into a bunch of Kishimoto's old interviews and see if I could find out the truth. And to be quite frank, Kishimoto never said this. I could not find a single interview where Kishimoto said anything remotely close to this. Anything relating to this topic
really
that I
interesting
could
how
find
stuff like that
was
gets
all
shared
just a
around.
bunch of people on different forum pages and stuff like that, saying that they saw this quote in an interview, but nobody could actually provide
Find
a
the
link
interview.
for that
That's
interview,
really funny.
meaning that this is more than likely 100% false. So although many people were disappointed to see Zetsu betray Madara like that, it doesn't look like Kishimoto ever explicitly said that it was because he needed a way to get rid of Madara.
Although,
instead, it's more than
you gotta
likely that
think,
Kishimoto
though,
had just planned this.
how
out
else
for
would
a
they have
while,
beat him?
But regardless of when he planned it, it was a bit poorly executed.
Yes.
I think we can all agree with
Yes.
that. At the same time, though, Kishimoto is known for his awful knack of rarely planning ahead when he introduces new elements to the story.
brings a bit of the
And I'm
dust of it
fairly
later.
convinced, based on our earlier information about Zetsu being a man-eater, that Zetsu wasn't always supposed to be the mastermind pulling the strings from behind the scenes. So even if Kishimoto never explicitly said that Kaguya and Zetsu, for that matter, were the only way to kill Madara as he got too powerful, it could still be the case.
It could still
but
be
just
true.
Know that Kishimoto himself
I
has
think it
never
is.
said anything
Jesus
like
Christ,
that.
what else were we meant to do?
Busted.
Ha!
Number
Boom.
4. Something I felt would be interesting to note would be the fact that the various Zetsu in general may potentially be a lot stronger than we originally thought. This is because of a technique called the substitute technique, which is a technique exclusive to the various Zetsu. Basically, this technique allows the various Zetsu to assume the identity of another person almost exactly. This includes an identical appearance, identical chakra, identical weaponry, and even the ability to use identical jutsu.
That's crazy.
So with that in mind, I think it could theoretically be possible that these Zetsu could copy even Kekkei Genkai. Although, just to be clear, this has never been confirmed to be possible or impossible.
gonna
I'm just
say,
merely theorizing that
that would be
because
one
these
hell
Zetsu
of a
use
thing,
techniques
wouldn't it?
of the individual that they are copying,
'Cause if
they
that
could
was
also
true,
in theory copy, say, an Uchiha, which also copies the
the
Sharingan,
Sharingan,
allowing them to use various
if that was
Sharingan
true,
related
why
abilities.
didn't they just copy
so with
the
that logic,
people
they
that
could
were brought
simply
back
copy
with
some
Edo
of the
Tensei?
strongest ninja in the Naruto universe and wreak havoc with their power. However, at the same time, this likely isn't possible, because
They
Kekkei
didn't do
Genkai
it.
are specific to bloodlines and things like that. Although, at the same
You
time,
would just
because some of the
copy
Kekkei
all the
Genkai
Edo
can be
Tensei people and just
transplanted
use all
whatnot,
their stuff.
there's still a chance that this technique could copy them. So with all that in mind, I just thought it would be a good idea to bring it up, because if this were possible, the many different Zetsu
My
are
God.
actually a lot more powerful than we
Yes.
originally thought.
My God.
Number 5. As far as why Black Zetsu is black instead of white like all the other Zetsu, it was touched upon very briefly in the story, but I'll give you a little refresher if you missed
Please
it
do.
or just simply forgot. Basically, Black Zetsu is very similar to a normal white Zetsu, except he's a special case in the fact that he's been manipulating people behind the scenes ever since he was created by
Like
Kaguya,
Kaguya,
shortly before she was sealed away. Black Zetsu's task was to trick the reincarnations of Indra and Asura into resurrecting Kaguya, along with getting intel on the various people throughout the world and their battles and everything like that.
Blah,
So
blah,
this
blah, blah.
obviously went on for centuries, as Black Zetsu did his best to manipulate those various incarnations of Indra and Asura, however, with no success. Much later on, after Madara fought Hashirama, he eventually learned of Madara's death, and located his body. Although Black Zetsu also knew that Madara wasn't foolish enough to let himself die so easily. So after finding his body, Black Zetsu then merged himself within Madara's body, so that when Madara eventually awoke, Black Zetsu could act on his future plans. Eventually, Madara woke up and then later on down the line awoke the Renegon with Hashirama's DNA, and he found out about the dynamic statue of the Outer Path. When he found out about that, the White Zetsu began awakening, which Madara assumed was the result of his experiments, but in fact it was
Nope.
actually Black Zetsu just pulling the various White Zetsu out of the statue
Yeah.
without Madara's knowledge. Later on down the line, when Obito was ready to carry out Madara's plan of the infinite Tsukiyomi, Madara imbued his will into a White Zetsu. This imbuing was supposed to be like a clone of Madara himself since it came out of his body. However, what actually came out of Madara's body through this imbuing was Black Zetsu just hiding within Madara's body
Yeah,
all
he'd
this
been there the
time
whole time.
without his knowledge.
Crazy.
So this whole time Zetsu was just chilling inside Madara's body doing whatever he could to pull the strings
Yeah.
from behind the scenes, but when Madara released him onto the White Zetsu, it was finally time to put his plan to the test. So although it may have appeared like Madara was the one to make Black Zetsu
He'd been
a
there
Black
the whole
Zetsu, Black
time.
Zetsu was actually just black from the very beginning. But what sets Black Zetsu apart from the basic White Zetsu isn't actually that much. Although because he is unique in color, he also has his own unique ability
Like
called
the
body coding,
venom
which is essentially where he's able to fuse himself
Symbiote.
onto somebody else's body and control their movements, which also includes being able to use their techniques and even their Kekkei Genkai if they have any,
That's
along
crazy,
with
yeah.
absorbing their chakra and even showing the victim his recorded events or memories. So basically Black Zetsu was black because Kaguya created him that way, and in actuality it had nothing to do with Madara.
Madara, yeah.
Even if it seemed like Madara was the one to create him at the time, that was just all part of Zetsu's plan. Either way though, I think the majority of us can agree that the whole Kaguya thing with Black Zetsu was a really disappointing way to close out the war.
Yep.
If you disagree, that's fine. But I think at some
Each to
point
their
in the future
own.
I'll detail my reasonings for why I disliked that whole plot point so much. But before we close out this fact, what do you guys think of Black Zetsu? Did you like him? Did you hate him? Let me know your answer along with why in the comments down below. Number 6.
It was alright.
I figured we should also quickly talk about the Spiral White Zetsu, otherwise known as Guru Guru, or by his actual name, Toby. The reason that he's a spiral and unique in appearance to the other White Zetsu is simply because his body mutated while in Kaguya's Infinite Tsukiyomi. So although I wish there was a little bit more to it so I could elaborate,
Yeah.
that's the simple reason
That's
as to why
it.
he has a spiral face and all the other Zetsu don't. Although, if you want to learn more about why his name is actually Toby, I've actually got an entire video explaining it, so feel free to click that card in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Otherwise, there is a link in the description and an end card at the end of the video. Number 7. Zetsu is
Vegeta
actually
was in the
not a
background,
playable
though.
character in any of the Naruto video games,
What?
other than by the use of mods or just appearing within the story of said games.
Oh, wow.
However, like I said, he's just not playable in a single one. The only exception being Guru Guru or Toby once again, being worn by Obito in Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. The reason for Zetsu's absence
That's
isn't really
weird.
known. However, it's likely just because the developers didn't really know what to do with him since he didn't really fight all that much until the
Yeah.
end of the series. At least that would be my hypothesis. But no official
That's
reason
strange,
for
though.
his absence has ever been given. Number 8. Due to the fact that Zetsu was created by Kaguya right before she was sealed away, this would make Zetsu by far the oldest member of the Akatsuki, which was previously held by Kakuzu. However, with that said, we don't know his exact age. However, since the events with Kaguya happened around 1,000 years ago,
Did say
we know
about
that Zetsu's age is somewhat close to
Near
that,
that, yeah.
although I'd speculate that he's probably at least 900 years old depending on when Kaguya was actually sealed. Number 9. While it's not known for sure if this was Zetsu's inspiration, it's very possible that the various Zetsu spawning from the demonic statue of the Outer Path is based on the folklore and legends involving the mandrake plant, which was theorized in alchemy as a way to create artificial human beings,
Yeah.
or homunculi,
Cool.
which stemmed from the fact that their roots appear very similar to the shape of a human being, which would also explain the inspiration for Zetsu going from a single character to multiple different ones by the end of the series.
Interesting.
Now the moment that you've all been waiting for, number 10. To finish off this video, let's talk about a small plot hole involving Zetsu. Or at the very least, this could be considered a plot hole because it has no logical explanation. Basically what I'm referring to would be what Black Zetsu did to the Uchiha tablet. If you weren't aware, or perhaps forgot, Hagoromo created the Uchiha tablet at some point before his death for multiple purposes, one of which was to dissuade the descendants of Indra and Asura to recreate the Renegon, along with a general warning about the Infinite Tsukiyomi, among other things like history and whatnot. However, at some point after Hagoromo's death, Black Zetsu went back to that tablet and rewrote some of its contents. The contents he removed or rewrote was getting rid of the warning about the Renegon, and rewriting the segment about the Infinite Tsukiyomi by adding that it is the only way to save the Uchiha clan, which of course is what helped set Madara on his path
Yep.
to actually achieve it. However, the reason why this is a plot hole is because the only way to fully translate that tablet is with the Renegon, or it's possible to partially translate the contents with the Sharingan and Mangekyo Sharingan. So if that's true, how the hell was Zetsu able to not only read the contents,
But
but
change it.
actually alter the text when he didn't have the Renegon or the Sharingan? By that logic, it simply shouldn't have been possible for him to do that. The only explanation that I could think of would be maybe the fact that it's written in some sort of ancient language that Zetsu just knows how to read since
Because
he's
he's
been
so
around
old.
for so long.
Right, okay.
Or maybe because Black Zetsu was created directly from Kaguya, maybe she passed down the ability to read that tablet since she had the Rene Sharingan and whatnot. Either way, it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But there's really no other
That's
way
really
I think
interesting.
it could have been logically possible for Zetsu to not only read but rewrite the
Write
contents
it
of
all
that
as well,
tablet.
yeah. Huh.
And since we were never given an explanation as to how he could do that, I just had to point out the fact that this is, indeed, a plot hole.
Damn.
Anyways, that
It
is 10
is.
facts about Zetsu. And with that, we've officially completed our fact series about
I still
the
have other
various
characters
Akatsuki
to check
members.
out. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't
But
do it
what
in the
about
right
that one Zabuza
order.
looking guy and that other dude? Actually, Carl, those characters were filler, so they have no business getting their own individual videos from
Ooh.
me. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Well, carry on. So with the end of this series, I will begin making some fact videos on the various other Naruto characters now. So if there's any specific character in Naruto that you'd like a fact video about, well, be sure to comment it down below. As a little celebration to complete this series officially, when I eventually get around to making another Naruto Top 10, that topic will be about the Akatsuki members. But I won't tell you any more than that right now, but just look forward to it in the future. Be sure to subscribe and hit
God,
that
I think I
notification
still got
bell so you can be
Hidan,
notified about the next Naruto-related
Itachi.
video. Drop a like and follow me on Twitter
I
at
can't remember.
YouTube to keep up with the channel. Thank you all so much for sticking with me on this series, as we've been at it for almost 3 whole years
That's
now.
crazy.
Ever since we first hit 10,000 subscribers so long ago. Now with over 300,000 more of you than
I
that,
think there's
I'm
more
forever
than that
grateful
now,
to
Zetsus
each and
Body.
every one of you for supporting this series to the very end. I've got lots of other great stuff on the way, so you definitely don't want to miss it. Anyway, for more Naruto-related content, be sure to click here for the playlist going over facts about each Akatsuki member if you missed any of them, or you can click here for that video about Toby's name, or click here
Might
for the
check
top
that one
10
out.
Keke Genkai
Well, we're gonna get through
in the
the
series.
10
Thanks
things.
for watching, and I will see you all
And
soon
then
with a new video.
There are Bleach videos I want to check out later in the month as well. There's just so much stuff and not enough time. But yeah, that was really interesting, that last one. How did he read it and change it when it stated you have to have the Sharingan, Mangekyou Sharingan, or Rinnegan? That's quite funny. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you're wondering, leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. It's all you guys next time.